Welcome back, everybody. Today we are going to take your old NES cartridge that demands a save and a probably battery replacement, since these games are well over 20 years old. Some of them are 30 years old, I believe. That some of them, if you're gonna play them, it's probably a good idea to replace the batteries. So a couple things that you're gonna need. You're gonna need a soldering iron. You're gonna need kind of a little bit of a workstation. You're gonna need a battery replacement. So right here, I went to Power Up Gaming, which is one of my local shops, and got a CR2025 battery. Now you need one that also has the tabs on it for it to go back onto the board, and you're also going to need a 3.8 safety bit. Now this one is almost like a T-series screw, but it actually has some extra parts to it. So these are the only bits that go into here to actually get the Nintendo screws out. Having a workstation also helps you stay organized. So let's get to it. Alright, and this is the board that we're looking at, so we can move these out of the way for now. As we can see, the battery here is a CR32, so we're going to need to grab my CR32 battery. So that was a bit of my mistake, but it will still just work just fine. Sorry about that. So it's got prongs on the back here that allow it to settle in. You can see them right there. And just like these prongs are going to go in as well. Make sure that you know which side is the positive and negative side as you're taking this out. So this top side says plus, so you want the top side to be plus, and the prong that goes in this side is fitting just like this. So we're going to replace it just like that. Make sure that your soldering iron is nice and hot. Maybe apply a little bit of flux to it. Now I use like a paintbrush. I know other people use other methods to just apply this stuff. It's just, I have a crappy old paintbrush. And I've also got this wheel of flux as well. Now this is also basically the same kind of steps as it takes for a Game Boy Advance battery, like in the Pokemon games and stuff like that. So don't be afraid to take this kind of to other places in your collection if you feel like those old batteries are also starting to need replacing as well. So grab a hold of the battery itself. Try to give it like a little bit of a tug while you're trying to peel it here. Oh, come on. Should be using some like tools to actually grab it right now, but be careful when you're doing it. There we go. One of the prongs came right out. Now this one should be much easier to grab. We got rid of some of the other solder, and some doesn't seem to want to let go. Looks like it's down on this side. There we go. And the battery came right out. So remember, we made sure that the make sure that's all good. We're going to take one of our prong sides, stick it right up against it. we go. Made contact, went all the way through. We will add to settle it down when we are prepared. Line the other side up, the negative side. Ooh, do I have it the wrong way? I said the positive side is that side, didn't I? Yep, that wrong way around. Yep, even on the board it says where the positive side is. Let's say like right there in the board. So, it was my mistake, but nothing that can't be corrected. Get it to puncture. Just try to line the prong up a little. And get the prong to go through. Okay, looking good. So now we're going to try to wiggle it through just a little bit more, so we can make more contact, kind of like that. That one's looking pretty good. This one can go through. Pretty good and in there. What we're going to do now is add more solder to make sure it kind of stays in. That one side is very, very loose there. So what we're going to do teensy bits of flex to both sides. This is the kind of project where you kind of wish you had 5 hands. I know that there's like those chip holders and stuff like that, but I do not own one of those. So, even though maybe I should. What I'm trying to do is feed around it. On there, no longer wiggling. What we're also going to do is create a little bit extra on the other side. Try to spread that around a little, make it kind of even. And there we go. Now, I'm going to try to make this change focus a little bit so you can see it just a little bit better. There we go. Now you can see that the solder job is done. Positive side is going that way where it was asking to, and we're going to put this guy back into the casing. Little grooves that it lines up with. You just kind of slide in. Now, while you're at it, if you'd like to take some alcohol and some cotton swabs, you can clean the board itself, which is probably not a bad idea. So, a little bit of alcohol and a couple of cotton swabs. So, while you're at it, kind of turn it while you're scrubbing. Use a clean one, the other end, to pick up the moisture. It'll dry just fine, but see little bits of dirt. Get a new one. Do the other side. And should be pretty good. Doesn't need to be overly tight or anything, just kind of get it in there. And just like that, you should have a new battery in your old NES games. Now, just to mention, like I said, the batteries, this is Canadian dollars, are about $5. I know that this was the wrong one. This is for a Game Boy game. The 32s are for some of the NES games. Maybe open it up beforehand, but you can get the little tool kits and stuff like this for $5, $10 on Amazon and stuff like that. So doing this project is relatively cheap. If you've never used a soldering iron before and you're interested in starting stuff like that, this is a great starting place. This is very easy, a couple of prongs, and you learn how boards and the chips actually lay onto the boards and either hold memory, or that's where like the RAM is set, and the actual information. So let's go pop this into the NES and give it a try. Alright everybody, you can see I got my Zelda game in. Powered on, works just fine. We are going to register a new name. And there we go. Everything seems to be working pretty good. Take this new battery. Head on our way out. And what we're hoping for is that the same file is still held on the battery. So, if you like this video and it was informative to you, like and subscribe. We do all kinds of stuff like this, so thanks very much for coming out.